Hi guys, let's discuss this Ring Magazine Night of the Samurai card coming up this Saturday morning. I believe on the East Coast it will be 5 or 6 a.m. or something like that on the East Coast. So midnight for people over in England. But this card is in Riyadh despite featuring many Japanese fighters. Features a lot of Mexican fighters as well. This is a classic case in boxing. It's something we've seen throughout the years, rather frustratingly. It's something I wish would stop in boxing, but I don't know if there's a way realistically in the industry to stop it, especially with different promoters. And that is these cards where two guys who everybody wants to fight each other, in this case it's Inoue and Nakatani, are featured on the same card, but they're not fighting each other. They're fighting different people, with the idea being that the next card is going to be the one where they're actually going to fight. Now, we saw this earlier this year with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. I believe the fight that was hyped in that was a Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia rematch. And it fell through because Ryan Garcia lost to Rolly Romero. And, that has potential to happen on this card as well. Sebastian Hernandez can hit hard, man. Nakatani is not a great matchup for Hernandez. I think this is a funny card in that, okay, it's true that the two main events feature Nakatani and Inoue, who everybody wants to see fighting each other. But I also think this card is strange in that I weirdly think that Sebastian Hernandez is a little more likely to beat Inoue than he is to beat Nakatani. And Nakatani is a little bit better of a matchup against David Allen Picasso than Inoue is. I think Inoue is pretty easily going to beat David Allen Picasso because David Allen Picasso has never fought a 12-round fight before. And Inoue has so much more experience at such a higher level, so many world championship fights, whereas Picasso is somebody who spent most of his career on, the Mexican national level, the Mexican regional scene up into the Mexican national level. And of course, the Mexican national level is very good. And I'm not trying to disrespect fighters that reach that level. But, I think we saw earlier this year with William Zepeda, somebody who's a forward-moving knockout artist, supposed to have heavy hands. I think he had 30 knockouts in 32 fights or something like that. Soundly outboxed by Shakur Stevenson, who's a world-level operator. And I think you can see something similar here with David Allen Picasso and Naoya Inoue, because Naoya Inoue has such a high level of technicality and such a high level of experience at the championship level, whereas that Picasso, he's not going to have those little answers, those small answers that he needs to have throughout the fight. Those little instincts that he needs to follow aren't going to be there. And so Inoue is going to score time and time again for those reasons. He's going to pick up rounds time and time again for those reasons, on top of having a stamina advantage and, more importantly, man, a power advantage, okay? A power advantage. His last opponent, Ramon Cardenas, knocked him down. It was a fight of the year contender. It was a wonderful fight. It was like a lot of Inoue fights, though, where he spent the first few rounds downloading information, and that was the time where he was vulnerable, and that was the time where he got knocked down. And once he downloaded the information, he was able to get Cardenas out of there in round 8. And we saw in Cardenas' last fight how dangerous he is and how powerful he is. Just a couple weeks ago, he absolutely slept the dude with an overhand left. He's got a great left hook. He's got a great overhand left. He's got a great left hand. And Picasso's best hand is in his left, and he doesn't have as powerful of a right hand as Cardenas does the left, I believe. I believe he has a powerful enough right hand to knock people out on the Mexican regional scene. I don't think he has a powerful enough hand to knock out Inoue. We've seen how tough Inoue is. You saw what an overhand right from Cardenas just did to that dude last week. Yeah, his name was Eric Robles. One punch from Cardenas knocked him cold, and it was a similar punch that hit Inoue, and it didn't knock him cold. He got up, got off the canvas, and won the fight. Now, of course, different context. That fighter made a mistake that Inoue is not going to make. So I just said Inoue got hit just today. It wasn't the same punch. It wasn't the same punch because Inoue would never have made that mistake. But he still got hit by a Ramon Cardenas left and got back up. Okay? So I don't think that David Allen Picasso can hit him with anything that's going to damage him enough to stop him from dominating the late rounds of the fight. I think there's almost no possibility that Inoue doesn't dominate the late rounds of the fight because Picasso doesn't have that late round experience. And of course, the same thing is similar about Sebastian Hernandez, but Sebastian Hernandez does have that power. And that's why I said earlier that I think that Hernandez is funnily weirdly a better matchup for Inoue, even though he probably, his record is his youth, his track record, he probably isn't a better boxer than David Allen Picasso. He probably doesn't have faster hands than David Allen Picasso, but he has more power than David Allen Picasso. He has more ability to actually damage the guy that he's standing across from than David Allen Picasso. But that's why I think that for Sebastian Hernandez, Junto Nakatani is not that great of a matchup, right? I think that Hernandez would have a much funner time trying to damage, knock down, and give a challenge to a world-class operator like Inoue than he is trying to battle a guy in Nakatani who can actually hurt you. Who can really actually hurt you, man. Like, Inoue can hurt you. Nakatani is a little different for this weight class because he's such a precise finisher, and there's such a powerful, decisive finish and follow-through to his shots. He's not a fun guy to fight, really. I think he'll lose one day. I think he'll lose to a defensive master. I think he'll lose to somebody who can really solidly outbox him and stay away from those long arms that he has. I especially think that Nakatani is going to be more vulnerable to losing when he moves up. But in this case with Hernandez, I don't think it's smart to go in there and try to power punch Junto Nakatani, because he'll do the same thing back to you, and you're going to get hurt, man. You're going to get knocked out. You're going to get put out of there. So that's something I'm looking for on this card. I'm looking for Nakatani to knock out Hernandez. I think that's pretty likely to happen. They're going to get into a firefight. It could be a lot of fun. There could be multiple knockdowns on both sides of this fight, genuinely. Not multiple knockdowns, but at least one knockdown. There's a lot of lighter guys with a lot of power on this card. And Picasso, his resume reads like he has a lot of power. I watch his highlights. It's similar to Zepeda. It's a lot of pressure fighting. It's a lot of combination punching. It's a lot of fast-handed stuff. There are one-punch knockouts in there, but it's fewer than with a guy like Hernandez. It's fewer than with a guy like Inoue. And I think that somebody with that kind of a game is something that Inoue can pretty easily handle. And sadly for Picasso, I think that in terms of beating Inoue, yes, it could be somebody from a higher weight class who takes a 0. It's very likely to be somebody from a higher weight class who takes a 0 whenever that happens, especially now that Inoue is moving later into his 30s. And if he does move up while he's older, I mean, you're getting what I'm getting at here. He's going to be fighting bigger guys. I think it would just take somebody with powerful enough hands to really hurt Inoue bad enough that he can't get back into the fight. Right? That's really what it's going to have to take to beat Inoue. And I think that the only guy in the world in his weight range that we know of yet, post note, Bam Rodriguez, who's capable of doing that is fighting in the co-main event. It's Junto Nakatani. And that's the fight that we all want to see. It's the fight that boxing fans deserve to see. It's rumored to happen at the Tokyo Dome next year, I think in spring. Hopefully they make it fast. Inoue likes to just get one fight after the other. He constantly gives these great gifts to boxing fans. He's fought 4 times this year. And that's really one of the only things I can say, one of the only justifications I can say is, though, how is Inoue going to lose this fight? Well, okay, we know how Nakatani could hypothetically lose this fight. He's fighting a power puncher. They get into a firefight, and Nakatani gets rocked. That's how Nakatani could lose this fight. It could be entertaining, and he could just come out on the losing side. That's a risk that's being taken here. For Inoue to lose this fight, 2 simultaneous things are really going to have to happen. First off, that high rate of activity is going to have to catch up to him. And second, Picasso is going to have to be better than we expect him to be. There's been plenty of examples in boxing history of a younger guy near or around Picasso's level having a breakout fight against the legends. Now, it's usually somebody not quite in the form that Inoue is in, but with all the action that Inoue has had this year, and especially, honestly, the high quality of opposition that Inoue has faced this year, which I feel like hasn't been talked enough about. Not only did he, Cardenas and Akhmadaliev back-to-back. Akhmadaliev was supposed to be the hardest fight of his entire career. He made him look like an amateur. So it's hard for people to imagine him losing to David Allen Picasso. But I think it would have to be a mix of 4 fights this year, maybe looking forward to the Nakatani fight coming up a little too much. And he's never done this, so I don't think he's going to do this, and it doesn't really fit the Japanese, mentality towards combat sports, athletics, boxing at all. But there would have to be some kind of complacency, be it conscious, be it subconscious, from that previous performance, from how dominant that last performance was, fighting somebody that everybody said was going to take his head, fight somebody that was, had been coming for him for a long time and was really the true number one contender and a possible future undisputed champion of the division. He completely dismantled him. This, 32-0 kid from Mexico. We just saw Shakur Stevenson do away with William Zepeda. This should be easy work for Naoya Inoue. And, you don't like to see things like that fight already being as planned, as talked about, as scheduled as it is. It's just happened time and time again that when you look forward, when you look past a fight in combat sports, you pay for it. And it's a lot easier to see Nakatani being that guy tonight. But there's just something about it, isn't there? That 4 fights in the year, that knockdown earlier on from another Mexican fighter. And like I said, there's these analytical reasons why I don't think it'll happen. Left hand, right hand. Cardenas having more just inherent power than Picasso. But it makes you think. And it's part of why, I'll predict Nakatani and Inoue to win. But I don't know that. This could go wrong. I think in spring of next year we might not be looking at a match at the Tokyo Dome. We're going to be looking at one or two, hopefully not two, but maybe one rematch of one of these fights that's going to happen this Saturday, while the other fighter goes off in, greener pastures. Hopefully not another weight class. Hopefully this doesn't become another one that got away for the sake of everybody in Japanese boxing. Knock on wood. I highly expect both these guys to win and for that fight to happen. But stranger things, man. Stranger things. Like and subscribe for more combat sports content. Peace out. I will see you guys later.